Holy shit, I have lost my job and I need to go find another one.
Damn.
That sucks, right?
What are you going to do?
That totally sucks.
Hard balls.
Yeah, and there's many people right now in that boat, right? It's June 2020. We are beyond the COVID crackdown.
Yeah.
We're now into the COVID reopening, maybe re-entering another COVID crackdown. And what started off as a temporary furlough has now turned into a permanent furlough.
Yes.
What happened as a, hey, we're going to need to cut your hours for a few weeks. Hey, we're going to keep your hours where they currently are. And that doesn't jive for most of Americans. That doesn't jive for most people in the workforce. So I figured, John.
Yes.
I figured you and I should spend the next umpteen minutes.
Yes.
You notice how I didn't say 20 or 25.
I like how you didn't timestamp it this time.
Yeah. I want to challenge anyone who listens to this podcast to go back and count how many episodes I've said over the next 20 or 25 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at the time, you're like, yo, that was like 45 minutes. Or the one we did a week back with T.Y., with Taylor Young, with Urban Young.
Great stuff, by the way.
Yeah, it was awesome, right?
Yeah.
55 minutes. I must have said at least twice it was only going to be 2025. Therefore, I'm going to try my best going forward to stay away from saying over the next 20, 25 minutes. I'm just going to say umpteen minutes. Or for the next, 20 minutes to maybe 60.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to talk about. This is what we're going to cover.
Yeah.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast. I am Dustin Owen. He is John Coleman. And for the next whatever time period we choose to be, we are going to look to entertain you, inspire you, and educate you.
Yes.
All right, you down with this?
I'm so down.
Perfect. So today we were supposed to have in another guest speaker, presenter, interviewee. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Jim couldn't make it. He had some scheduling conflicts and he couldn't catch a flight back to Orlando in time. No worries. We're going to go ahead and get him booked for next week. But I do look forward to when Jim comes on because Jim is a professional headhunter.
Okay.
He is a recruiter, and he actually recruits specifically for the mortgage industry. So he places top producing loan officers with new companies, top producing underwriters and processors, and sometimes entire branches. All right. So I'm excited to have Jim on, and I'm excited to get his perspective because his is going to be a very much more high level corporate executive than mine is going to be more street level. Mm-hmm. But we are in June. It is 2020. We are dealing with the fallout of COVID. We really don't know the direction of our economy. My buddy Chris, he still thinks V-shaped. Other people say U-shaped. Most people are saying we're not going to be in good shape for at least another year or two, which means there's going to be people displaced from an employment standpoint. So you were one of those people up until about 6-7 months ago. Mm-hmm. And I have friends that are currently those people. And something that I do for Waterstone Mortgage is I am on the leadership team and I am part of the hiring process. So for the past decade plus, I have been a part of saying who we hire, when we hire, screening applicants. And I want to take your experiences from over the previous 12 months, my experiences over the past 10 years, and let's just talk about what it's like to be interviewing, submitting resumes. Let's talk about some things that I see on my end as a hiring manager that you're like, or not you, but I'm like, man, I'm shaking my head about.
Yeah.
And you let us know what it was like. Just going through you had one job. It was your career for 13 years. Yeah. And when that went away, you had time on your hands. Mm-hmm. Some you took freely. You traveled, right?
Yeah.
And then at some point you decided, I think I need to start re-entering the workforce.
Absolutely.
I don't know if the savings account got depleted or your wife started giving you a hard time.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yes.
Okay. And it wasn't your choice that your previous employer, they had layoffs, right?
Yeah. Restructuring. And you weren't a part of the restructuring. No, I wasn't.
Okay. So yeah, let's just, you and I spend the next umpteen minutes going back and forth and talking about this topic of, holy shit, I need to go get a job.
Yes.
And I may or may not have done this in the past 9 years, or in your case, 13 years.
Yeah.
And other people, it may have been, look, I've been helping my spouse run our business, but my spouse is going to go ahead and wind that business down, go work for someone else, at which point I need to go find a job or a new career of my own. And what's that going to look like?
Yeah.
I'm going to say on my end,
Yeah.
the number one thing you need to do is go get your social media in check,
Yes.
right? Hey, everyone looking to get a job right now. Everyone who's looking to get a job, triple check your social media. How do you have it set up? If it's wide open, then your posts need to be extremely generic.
Mm-hmm.
If your social media is not wide open and it's more narrowed, or only people that are your friends can see your post, feel free.
Yeah.
All is game.
Yes.
But I'm going to promise you, as a hiring manager, the first thing I do, I'm talking about like your resume just hit my inbox. Then I'm going to Facebook, I'm going to Instagram, I'm going to LinkedIn, and I want to find out about you.
Yep.
Would you do something similar?
That's the first thing I did about you when I got your full name.
Was it really?
Yeah, that's the absolutely first thing. I was like, who am I interviewing? Dustin Owen. And I went straight to LinkedIn, and I just went down the rabbit hole.
When you were out interviewing, were you cognizant of things that you post?
Oh, yeah. But given the fact, I really don't post that much to social on my personal life. So, and given that I was kind of groomed and bred in social media, I kind of know the do's and don'ts of what to say, what to post. So I was never kind of concerned about kind of my actions on social media. I always kept it pretty clean.
Yeah, because your Facebook is basically non-existent.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's there. It works. I do log in, but I'm not showing off my latest meal or my last trip.
No, and Instagram's a little bit harder to snoop on.
Yeah, because you can change your name. You can kind of go incognito. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when your name's John Coleman,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, John Coleman, Dan Smith.
Yeah.
Good luck finding the right one.
Yeah.
No, so like that's my first thing. But I want to talk about something that happened today.
Okay.
Today I had a voicemail from a young lady who had applied for one of our open positions.
Okay.
We're currently hiring. The mortgage market is a very strong industry to be in right now. Rates are super cheap. You have people who are gainfully employed really want to get out and buy homes, especially because rates are so cheap. I'm talking like, 2 to 3%, or mid 2s to mid 3s. You have people who have mortgages, but they want to save $200 or $300 a month. So they're trying to refinance their existing mortgage rate. So we are in hiring mode right now, probably all facets of the industry. And someone applied and she didn't get a call. Now, she didn't get a call because we have a screening process, right? And it's very structured. It's the same for all applicants. That way we can make sure that we're treating all applicants fairly and the same. Mm-hmm. And she obviously, this person I'm talking about, didn't make it through that screening process. And when I look at her resume, I can probably guess why. She's had 5 jobs in the past 4 years. So there's not a whole lot of stability. And I'll tell anyone who's looking to interview or get hired on to an organization or to an opportunity that they currently don't have, or they don't work for that organization, one of the first things that we look for is longevity in the workforce. And I'm not saying longevity meaning, how many years have you been in the industry? Yes, we look for that, but we look for first, how long have you worked for one company?
Yeah.
Are you a job hopper? Because there's always a reason why you didn't stay there for a year. And look, I understand that life happens, and I understand that, sometimes we make decisions to go work for employers that just aren't a good fit for us. But 5 over 4 years, yeah, sometimes it's, you hear me say this a lot, the person in the mirror.
Yeah.
And as a hiring manager, you don't necessarily want to hire someone who job hops. So we look for that. We look for that before we even look for how many years in the industry. I don't mind hiring someone who's a great person, who shows a lot of initiative, who doesn't have experience. But what I do see is their last job or their last career, they were there for 7 years. Or how about they were there for 7 years and they were promoted 3 different times in those 7 years? I may actually want that person over someone who's coming to me with 7 years experience, but has worked for 5 different companies in those 7 years. So that's something we look for. But initiative. We look for initiative. So what I was getting on is the young lady who she didn't get a call through the initial screening process. She might have been one of 12 or 13 people who submitted resumes that week for this open requisition or open job. And let's say 5 got phone calls and 7 or 8 did not. And she probably did not because she lacked certain qualifications that are being looked for. It could have been she didn't have industry experience. Maybe it was a college degree. Maybe it was a foreign language that was being looked upon. Maybe it was, hey, this person's had 5 or 6 jobs in the past 5 or 6 years, or a combination of all of the above. But she did something that so few do that will, for me, make sure she always gets noticed and she at least gets an at-bat. What do you think that was?
I don't know where you were going with it. I thought she went on social media and threw a tirade. But now I'm thinking she probably, I don't know, said thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, no. So all she did, and maybe I didn't do a good enough job of setting this up. Social media was just, hey, first and foremost, like P's and Q's. I'm beyond that. Like that was just a fair warning. Like y'all need to get your crap together. If you are out and you are loud and you're obnoxious on social media and you don't hide yourself, please know that goes into people's perception of you up front, and it'll impact whether or not you even get an interview, let alone get hired.
Yes.
That's just, no, this story I was telling you, and I told it in a very long, roundabout, Dustin Owen style way of doing things, was essentially her resume was one in which didn't capture the attention of the first screener.
Okay.
She lacked industry experience. She lacked a college degree. She lacked speaking a foreign language fluently, all things that we look for. And she had a really bad track record of only being at certain jobs for 6 months, 9 months, 13 months, really no stability.
Gotcha.
But she did something that no one else had done, which is picked up the phone and called somebody. And she didn't even call the right person. She picked up the phone. She called the front desk. Mm-hmm. It was then forwarded to me. And because she left me a voicemail, and because that voicemail was pretty professional, I picked up the phone, called her right back. She got a 20-minute conversation with one of the hiring managers, all because she picked up the phone and showed initiative.
Yeah.
Now, she may still not be the best candidate for the position. She may still not make this round of cuts. But what she did is forever got herself noticed.
Yep.
So, and her resume will now be stored. And not stored in a filing cabinet, but stored in the special email inbox that we go to when we're like, oh my God, we need somebody.
Yeah.
Like yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, who do I have? Who impressed me over the past 3 months, 6 months, 9 months that maybe they didn't make the final cut, but there's someone that we want to bring back.
Yeah.
Well, this young lady went from basically not making it through the initial screening. Right? Initial screening means you never even made it to a hiring manager.
Yeah.
You know, you were with the HR department to she's going to be considered.
Nice.
So show initiative.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're a employment victim of COVID and you're out in the job market for something that wasn't on you, you didn't choose to, you didn't do something to upset your employer to deserve this, but it just happened because life happens, pick up the phone and show initiative.
Yeah.
You and I were talking about something else before we hit record. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what that was?
We talked about a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's appropriate to share at this point, but
as it pertains to seeking employment, showing initiative, staying off of social media. You know, one of mine is this, and I'm seeing this right now. I have a friend of a family member reached out to me because they see that we have open requisitions, basically positions we're looking to fill.
Uh-huh.
And no industry experience, but this is someone that they're younger in life. They're younger in their career. They're only maybe a year or 2 or 3 removed from schooling. Mm-hmm. And whatever it was that they were doing for a living, it's not available to them. And this person very well climbed the ladder, right? They probably already started off at $12 an hour, then worked it up to $15 an hour. And maybe this person's sitting at $20 an hour. But that $20 an hour job is gone.
Yeah.
And their industry and their profession isn't one in which there's like a designation. Like, teachers, they have designations, cops, designations, nurses, designations, engineers, designations.
Yeah.
No, there isn't a designation for somebody who worked customer service or worked administration or, especially if there's not a college degree that goes along with it.
Yeah.
It's really about, well, what have you done? What's your skill set and can that translate? So this person, my advice to them, if they were to ask me for it, would be, hey, you're not going to be able to make $40,000.
Yeah.
You may need to go back to making 34 or 36 or 35. But what you need to ask yourself is, are you willing to do so if this is a position or an industry where if you're willing to make 35 the first year, 39 the second year, you can make 52 your third year and 60 your fourth. And when you compare that, you need to also compare that with the industry that, by the way, you don't work there anymore. In that industry, were you on that same trajectory? Or once you got from 12 to 15 to $20 an hour, are you going to be $20 an hour plus a 3% raise for the rest of your life? But that's a teacher.
Yeah.
A teacher is, hey, coming out of school, you're 40 grand or you're 48 grand or you're 52 grand, depending on what part of the country. After that, you're a 3% raise.
That's it.
Every year.
Yep.
Now you can go get your master's. I've always, question this. Hey, go drop 24 grand on a master's so you can make 2,500 more a year. I'm like, yeah, run some ROI on that one. I mean, it's like, now if you're going to have your schooling paid for, you're going to be reimbursed by your employer.
That makes sense.
I mean, there's so many reasons why you should continue on. If you're going to use that to get into administration, and administration, you're going to make more money than teaching. And it's not, I know, always about money. For me, it might be, and for other people, it might be. For others, it's not.
Yeah.
But that person who is currently in the job market without something that they did or they asked for, my advice is going to be, you may need to take a 25% pay cut to get a job that could lead to a career with a company with longevity, if it means you can turn that $35,000 into $70,000 over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Especially if your previous job, the one you don't work at, didn't give you that trajectory. So and it's like, okay, but you're short $5 grand on your bills. Are you afraid of a side hustle? Like, can you not valet cars? Can you not tend bar? Can you not deliver pizza or Uber or I guess Uber Eats?
Yeah.
Right. There's to pick up an extra $5 grand. You could babysit.
Yeah.
You could babysit and pick up an extra $5 grand a year, if it meant going to work for a company in an industry that offered you A, longevity, B, happiness, but C, the opportunity to exponentially grow your income over the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen. Like, I've seen that happen here at Waterstone Mortgage, where someone was willing to come in and say, yeah, like entry level, I'm fine starting off at entry level as long as you can paint the picture for me. Hiring managers. That would be my advice to you. When you're seeking candidates and you're interviewing them, please know that the candidate's interviewing you as much as that you're interviewing them.
Yep.
Are you painting the appropriate picture? Are you making your opportunity one in which they can't pass up? Or is your opportunity just another job? Hey, because I don't know about you, I don't want to hire someone who just needs a job.
Yeah.
I want to hire someone who wants a career, who wants to be a part of what we're a part of, who wants to buy into the mission statement. But in return, I want to show you how this is more than just a job on our end, that we want to support you in your career growth, and we want to celebrate you earning promotions and raises and really etching out a spot for you in this industry, let alone in this company.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not a professional recruiter, right? These are just my tips and tidbits.
Yeah.
When you interview,
Here we go.
When you interview, please do some research. It is impressive. Even if your research is the most basic, and I know that all you did was go on our website, and you can spout out to me that we are founded in 2000, that we were purchased by the bank in this particular year, and that this person's the CEO. You at least show some initiative. But if you want to wow me, no, really do some research. Like, pick up the phone and call some of our current associates. Yeah. Introduce yourself. Be like, hey, look, I'm looking to interview with your company. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah.
Anyone who shows initiative in general, my friend's daughter, she's at college age, great kid, just went to work for my sister. And she's, my sister's assistant. And it's part-time. Already the feedback is through the roof impressive because this young lady shows initiative. Because this young lady picks up the phone and will start asking questions to my sister that are on topics that my sister hasn't trained on. But this particular associate of hers has already gone above and beyond to show the initiative.
Yeah.
So if you want a job, show initiative.
Absolutely.
If you want to impress your employer, show initiative.
Yeah.
If you're going on an interview, do research. But if you really want to wow with your research, show initiative and pick up the phone and interview. Ask a couple questions. Don't hide from who you are and why you're calling, and thank them for their time and be gracious. But to be like, hey, John, my name is Dustin. You and I don't know each other, but you work for XYZ company. I'm interviewing with them next week, tomorrow. Can I steal like 2 or 3 minutes? I want to find out how you like working there and why.
Yeah.
Let them talk. Thank them for their time. Take notes and take that into the interview.
Damn.
Yeah, you're going to impress me.
Yeah.
By the way, ask me more questions than I ask you. And by the way, do not ask me about vacation time.
Do people really have you had that when they led
Oh, I need to know about your PTO policy.
First time meeting?
First time meeting, which look, that's very important. Work-life balance is important. But the minute you lead with that, or if that comes up early on in the process,
God.
it's slighting. It slights us as interviewers.
Well, it just means the first thing you're thinking about is before you even get the job is when can I start taking time off?
Yeah, I get benefits, especially if you have a previously existing condition or a family member that does.
Yeah.
I get asking about benefits. You better, if you listen to this podcast, you better ask about 401k match.
Yeah.
And how soon can I contribute? And there's certain questions that you want to know, but there's also certain assumptions that you should make. It's assumed that you're going to get vacation. It's assumed you're going to get PTO. It's assumed you have sick days, especially if you've done your research on the company. I mean, if you realize that this company is nationwide and it has 500 plus employees, companies like that don't roll with shitty benefits.
Yeah.
They may be average at best, but average at best is probably all you know.
Yeah.
So but come with some questions prepared. Ask the interviewer about themselves, about what they love about their job.
Yeah.
Ask the interviewer questions like this. If you were in my shoes, what advice would you give me? Or when you were in my shoes, how did you get to where you are today?
Yep.
What do you attribute to your success? What's the number one thing I can do to bring value to this organization? Value a lot of times is revenue. Right, we had Lewis in. Remember having Lewis in?
Yeah, absolutely.
More people should go back and listen to that episode because Louis Valsaint, he talks about entrepreneurship. Intra with an I, not an E.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship is making yourself valuable to your organization. When you're interviewing, those questions should come up with who you're interviewing. Asking, how can I? Now, if you can find a way that you brought value to your previous organization, that's a great story to tell. But don't be afraid to ask questions when you're in the interview. Handwritten thank you notes. Holy cow.
Yep. Do I have stories for you? A lot of what you said right now is pick up the phone and call. I did. Write handwritten notes. I did. It's goddamn. It's like going through the process, like deja vu.
Yeah. So you're saying when you were out interviewing, you made sure that you followed up at a minimum. Follow up with an email.
Oh yeah, email.
By the way, with a subject line, thank you for your time today. That works.
I had it down pat. So when I started, I was I was at, my previous job for a while, 13 years, I hadn't interviewed for quite some time, but given all my experience, I figured once I get back out there, it's I'll just, turn on I'll get it back going again. And
you'll turn on the faucet, I'll turn on the job opportunities.
Yeah, just go flowing in. That's not, no. So, I got some opportunities and I got some bites and I started interviewing, and what I quickly realized is, damn, there's a lot to talk about, but it takes practice. You can't just go in there cold and be like, hey, yeah, so tell me about yourself. I kind of got caught up. So it took me a little while to kind of get my feet back under me in terms of kind of interviewing and, the right flow and kind of how to quickly say what I was going to say. Cause these people are dealing with, 15, 20 interviews a day. So you have to be quick to the point, but also stand out.
And you also you can't overdress, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now you should dress for the occasion, right? If you ever want to know how to dress, call someone and ask. But I can't remember one time in the past 10 years that anyone has turned myself or any other hiring manager off because they came wearing a full suit as a guy, or as a lady wearing a pantsuit, pantyhose, a dress or skirt. I'm not totally on point with the terminology used for women's business attire. I'm sure my daughter will correct me when she listens to this, that there's a difference between a dress and a skirt. And you wear dresses to dinners. You don't wear dresses to work. You wear skirts. But hopefully the listeners know what I'm getting at here, okay?
Yeah.
You can't overdress.
Very important. You can underdress.
You can underdress. You can definitely underdress. And I'm not saying you need to go out and buy new clothes. You can polish those old shoes up. You can go out and buy new pantyhose and get your old suit cleaned.
Yeah.
But it definitely matters how you dress. But no, the big things to me are what I said earlier. It's picking the phone and showing initiative. It's doing some research on the company, showing initiative. When you come in, it's being prepared to ask questions. And there's nothing wrong. In fact, I love it when someone whips out a yellow notepad. Like, well, I did have some questions.
Yeah.
As long as they don't lead with PTO. And, look, understanding what comp is important. You should know what the comp is before you come in. You should have an idea of at least a range. Hey, this job pays somewhere between $18 and $25 an hour, depending on your experience.
Yep.
Like, you should know going into it. If you're finding out about comp the minute that you sit down, you're kind of wasting your time and the interviewer's time. I mean, I don't want to interview someone if this job is only budgeted to pay 30 to 40 grand a year, and the person who I'm interviewing can't work for less than 48. It's a waste of my time and their time. So I think that's something that those that are in the job market seeking employment, you should understand that, and don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you should want to not waste your own time, let alone someone else's time.
Yeah.
I mean, the easy ones, be punctual.
Yeah.
I mean, it should. Look, flat tires happen and accidents happen and train stopping on railroad tracks.
You gotta build that in though. You almost gotta have to be so early that you have to prepare to like sit in the parking lot for 10 minutes.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah. You have an interesting story about interviewing here.
Yeah.
That I would love to know the answer, because this right here almost never happened.
Yeah.
Because I ghosted you on your interview, and it was a total honest mistake.
Yeah.
Our home office is in the Central Time Zone, and our screening process is done out of the home office.
Yep.
And a calendar invite was sent to me, and Central Time got transposed as Eastern Time. I thought the interview was at 10:30. It was told to you at 9:30.
Yeah.
And I was at another appointment getting a phone call being like, hey, there's a John Coleman here to interview with you. I'm like, man, this dude is early. Then I went back and started rereading the notes, and I saw where the screw up was, and you straight up left.
It was a time in my life that I had been through the gauntlet of interviews. So I thought it was just another okay. Then that's when I was like, yeah, I left. I walked out.
How did we get you back?
On the way home, I called my mom.
Okay.
I was the voice of reason, and I was like, Ma, I was there. I don't know. Like, he wasn't there. I said if I could reschedule. She was like, you better turn around. The typical mother. No, you're not. You turn around, go back. You got the interview. Turn around, go back. Are you sure? Turn around, go back. Just like Jordan and his mom. No, you're gonna go to that Nike thing.
Yeah.
All right, Ma, whatever. Literally came back, and as I was pulling in, I think you were literally you got out of your car, and yeah, that was it. The grace of mother saved me.
Okay, so you reached out to a voice of reason, because now were you even planning on rescheduling?
Yeah, I know. No, I was, but it was just given because that time, as I can attest, is frustrating. Kind of going through it when you think you did well in an interview or you think you got some bites. But honestly, that's all part of the process. I think going through all those hoops, jumping through all those hoops, actually prepared me so much more to where when I did sit down and there was a valid opportunity and a good opportunity, and I saw that, and I was able to kind of quickly capitalize on it. So yeah, what went from like a missed meeting, I think we talked for like 15 minutes here, and you're like, yeah, I think we can do this. I think this is gonna work, and I was like, yeah.
What this is gonna be getting personal here,
Yeah.
but like you were interviewing with a mortgage company.
Yeah.
Like, did that go into part of your mindset? You're like, man, this isn't even like a video production marketing company. I don't even know why I'm here. This dude's late.
All the above. Like it did, but at the same time, like it was an opportunity to kind of apply my skills that I had learned to something new, and I was like, that's kind of always interesting for me. And this was more of a little bit. I don't want to call it like gaming is a career, but this is more of like a step. Just I don't know. It's a little bit more serious, I would say.
Well, you were given the opportunity to create your own department.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I talk about all the time. Like, as a hiring manager, that's me painting the biggest picture.
Yeah.
Like, that is me. It's a little bit of a dangling of a carrot also, but it's like, no, let's think big.
Yeah.
And Waterstone Mortgage could very well need a media department, a social media department that if you can figure it out, man, it'll be yours.
Absolutely.
Like, it'll be yours to take ownership of. Thinking back to what Lewis talks about, that there's your entrepreneurship opportunity.
Yeah. And honestly, kudos to you, like to tell you that to give me the opportunity, because going through the interview process, I've heard a lot. Yeah, this is what it's going to be. This is going to be. But honestly, the thing that I value is you were genuine. It wasn't. You really weren't kind of blowing smoke on my ass. And then honestly, when you talked about like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for, and I can honestly attest that now that I've been on the job for 6 months. Everything you kind of said in the interview was spot on. It's like you can take this as far as you want. I expect you to kind of build a department. I want to hold you accountable, but I'm not necessarily going to hold your hand, which I appreciate because that shows you build trust with like that. You empower me to kind of do my job correctly, and therefore I want to kind of reciprocate that and do a good job. So
I just have to keep on remembering to tell you when I like something. Oh yeah, I like that, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, I like that. That post you did was on point. Sometimes I forget to do that.
No,
like you just forget, or you only talk about how things could have gotten better, and not necessarily all the things that went well.
correct.
What was one of your scariest? Not scariest. I hate that word.
No.
But like what was like during that process?
Yeah.
Because you had about what, 6 months or 9 months?
8, yeah, like 9.
Yeah.
8, yeah.
And I know because we've developed a friendship that you didn't want to go to work right away. You wanted to travel.
Yeah, I wanted to chill. Like there was no rush. But I would say the scariest, most disheartening is I had a couple opportunities that I thought like, wow, I think I'm going to get this position. Went through like 6-7 hour long phone interviews. Got called into like the home office. And then when I got into the home office, it just crumbled. I was like, oh, wow, this isn't what I expected. I thought, like, usually I always feel that if I get an in-person interview, I should get the job. I feel like I'm qualified. So if I can make it through the hoops of actually, the digital call back, forth, et cetera, and I get a face interview, I feel pretty confident about getting the job. So I got to this sit-down interview. It was another 2-hour gauntlet, met with every director, which way. Got like a pit in my stomach. I was like, this doesn't feel right. I was like, I went in thinking I was going to crush it. I came out saying, I don't know if I got it. And then like, we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch when it's like a week. So then I followed up. I sent the email. I was like, hey, just wanted to see, how's everything going? Please, just eager to, follow up. Ghost. Another week goes by and I'm like, okay. So then I pick up the phone and then I get the lady that actually interviewed me in HR. I was like, hey, I just want to follow up. And she was like, hello. How did you, she didn't expect me to call. Eventually I didn't get it. I got the email like 4 months later saying like, sorry, moved on. But that was the moment I was like, wow, like, shit, like, is it me? Like, what's going on? Because having had so much experience, having thought I did everything right, I had the college degree. I was well-spoken, I thought, had the resume to kind of back it up. So to kind of get rejected like that was like, damn. But going through all that, honestly, I couldn't have landed in a better position.
Well, things happen for a reason in life. At least that's something I believe in.
I can't stress that enough. It's a lot. It's a little bit of skill, little bit of luck. I think it's a soup of the mix. Like you can't just go out just on your skills alone. A lot of it is timing, as you can see, and luck. But yeah, damn. Because had I gotten that job in the other position, I would have been laid off. I would have been furloughed.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. I can see because they shrunk down. And same thing. Another interview, another position I had for like a local marketing ad agency. Really excited. I was like, oh, this is cool. I can kind of do creative stuff. Same thing. Got the interview. Got in person, and I was like, oh yeah, it's not going to work out.
That was actually my follow-up question. Do you know where the people who actually were hired and not you?
Yes.
Did you find out who they were?
Yeah, of course. I stalked them on LinkedIn.
Did you?
Yeah, I found out.
What were they more qualified than you?
For that particular position, yes. Okay. I think the job description, how it was laid out online, kind of matched with me perfectly. But then when I got in, I think they were looking for a little bit more design elements, like hands-on, like really like a Photoshop whiz, kind of like digital artist. I'm not there yet. I can kind of visualize it, but I'm more like hands-on videography, photography, etc. So that's when I was like, okay, cool.
So it wasn't a total ego blow at that point.
No.
Once you realized what it was that they were looking for.
Yes, because had I lied my way and I got in, they would have been like, cool, I need all these renders and I need this and I need a 3D sketch, and I'd be like, shit, like
there's not enough YouTube videos for you to watch. At least not enough time.
No, there's not enough.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Did you send me a handwritten thank you note?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Did I hire you too fast? I probably did.
It went from how it started. Full disclosure, it started out as like a temporary, like part-time thing. It wasn't even going to be like, it was like, hey, I think it was listed as like marketing assistant. It started as marketing assistant. You'll come in and it was basically like entry level. And at that point, I was like, yes, just apply.
Yeah, you're like, I'll do this and I'll do some freelance stuff on the side, and this will get my wife off my back,
literally.
It'll help pay the bills.
Literally. So all that went in. So it was like, oh, marketing assistant jobs, not that serious, whatever. I'll that's why I was kind of like nonchalant about it. But I mean, kind of seeing where this has blossomed now is awesome.
So here's what's interesting for both hiring managers, as well as, especially hiring managers that have a say in the organization, and as well as those who are going on the interviews. You never know where it's going to go. You never know who it is that you're actually interviewing with, and you don't know who they know. Like, this is your one time to shine. Why would you ever want to screw it up? Right? I totally forgot about that. Yeah. John shows up thinking, oh, he's just going to interview for a part-time job with part-time pay.
Yeah.
He ended up with a full-time gig with full benefits, 401k match, like with longevity and a career behind it.
Yeah.
Which wasn't your mindset coming in.
Wasn't at all.
Probably one of the reasons why you also were like, okay, this guy's late. I'm leaving until he called mom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Coleman, for talking sense into your son yet again. Yet again, Mrs. Coleman to the rescue.
Yeah.
But I think that's imperative for people to know is you don't know. How many times I'm asking you, it's a rhetorical question. I'll tell you guys, countless. I mean, half a dozen to a dozen times have we interviewed someone and it wasn't a good fit for then, or the timing just wasn't right. But 90 days later, 45 days later, I pick up the phone and I go to that little email folder that I have. I go right to that email folder. I know what I'm looking for. I find it. I pick up the phone. Hey, are you still interested? And I understand as sometimes it's like, you know what? I found a really good gig.
Yeah.
Other times it's been, tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, we had talked about X. We currently have a position available for Y, and we would love for you to fill it, be a part of it. We've interviewed people that their skill set was not good enough, but their personality was off the charts, everything that we want and need.
That's what I want to ask you. What do you value kind of, I don't want to say value more, but obviously you have people who are really talented, but their personality sucks, or vice versa. What do you kind of value more? Someone who has an awesome personality that you can work with, that will take the time to learn?
Yes.
Okay.
Look, you can't teach someone not to be an asshole. You can't. You can't teach someone to care. You can't teach someone work ethic. There are many people, and I'm saying this is from coast to coast, Spokane to Washington, to Key West and everything in between. Like, there are people that trade their 40 hours a week for a paycheck. They come in, they do enough not to get fired. They collect their paycheck and they go home. There's many days I envy those people because they also don't bring work home with them. The mental stress, the 1,000 pounds of weight on their shoulders. But that's also someone who won't make the first round of furloughs or layoffs. And it's not the person who's going to get promoted, and it's not who you want to build an organization around. So if you are someone in an interview that you just shine, I can speak for my organization, but I'm pretty sure many others will find a role for you.
Yeah.
We will find a role for you. We certain things we can teach you this over the next 4 to 6 months. I can't teach you to be a good, nice, hardworking, caring person ever, let alone over 4 to 6 months. So there's certain things it's like, no, let's get you on board. Let's figure out how to train you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times where we've told people, I honestly don't know what you're going to do. I have an idea, but this is what you're really good at. We need more people like you. And if you can believe in me, know that we're going to believe in you. If you can trust me, we're going to invest in you. And in return, I want to give you not just a job, but a career that lasts until you want it to no longer last. Hopefully for me, that's retirement or they win the lottery.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need to understand when they're out looking for jobs, when they're out interviewing, when they're out submitting their resumes. Look, if you're being frustrated because you're submitting your resume and not hearing anything, pick up the damn phone.
Pick up the phone.
Call somebody. If you go on an interview and you're unprepared, you are limiting your opportunities. If you do not follow up with a handwritten thank you note, with an email thanking that person for their time, then you're limiting your opportunities. And don't be afraid to ask the hard questions about things like pay up front in advance. Don't ask them about PTO first thing when I ask you, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so I was wondering, how many PTO hours do I get?
Yeah, can you walk me through? Now, if you have a special circumstance, hey, look, I have a wedding. It's next month. Okay, that's not asking about PTO.
Yeah.
That's just saying, if you hire me, I need you to understand I have a previous engagement that I cannot cancel.
Yeah.
My sister's getting married and I'm in the wedding party.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's today's show.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just what I think are most basic, simple principles, but obviously not everyone.
You would be surprised how many people just don't follow them.
Yeah, not everyone follows them. And by the way, you can't follow up too much. I guess you can. If you call more than once or twice a day, you can follow up too much. But don't be afraid to follow up. Worst case is you're still not getting the job, but they now have moved your resume higher up the
stack of resumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're now going to be added to that folder of resumes to keep.
Yeah.
Or what if the person that accepted the job recants?
That's huge. I mean, like you said, the biggest thing, you can study, you can apply, but the unknown has such an impact on kind of landing the job to where you just always, you can't get too frustrated. I mean, yes, it's frustrating, but you always have to stay somewhat optimistic and know that there is a master plan somewhere.
Yeah, let's walk you through what that looks like really quick.
Yeah.
Then we'll go ahead and end the show.
Yeah.
So let's say 3 people made it through the screening process. 3 people earned a live interview.
Yep.
Of the 3 people, you were number 3. That means they like 2 people above you.
Yep.
They pick up the phone. They offer number 1. They're like, yeah, you know what? I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm cool where I am.
Yep.
Right? I'm cool with my current situation. Maybe they're gainfully employed.
Yeah.
They go to number 2. Number 2, I would love to take this job. I can start in 2 weeks. They go and they give their 2-week notice to their current employer. Current employer hits the brakes. What's it going to take to keep you, John?
Oh, well,
We would hate to lose you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you did a good enough job of being a solid number 3, you follow up, you did the handwritten thank you note, then you're getting that phone call. But usually because you did the handwritten thank you note because you followed up, you may have actually gone from 3 to 2.
Yep.
And you never had to worry about the second person going through their situation. Now, a lot of times you weren't going to go from 3 to 1 because you did a handwritten thank you note and you did a good job of following up. Because one may speak a language that you don't speak. One may have experience that you don't have.
Yeah.
One may just be better, just plain out better at this point in their career. But if number 2 and number 3 were a toss-up, you could have elevated yourself from 3 to 2 just by doing simple follow-up.
Simple follow-up.
That's it. That is the end of today's episode of the Loan Officer Podcast. I'm Dustin Owen. He's John Coleman. And we're out.
Peace.